June 7th, 2 inches of snow. Welcome, everyone. June 9th, 2 inches of snow. Okay, we need a roll call. You got that, Corey? Elijah, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes? Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, we have a motion by Murph and a second by Ellen. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none? Moving on. Okay, we'll have a little finance update. Hopefully there's good news.
Just a real quick update for the board so that you know all of our NES invoices have been paid. To date, the total paid to NES for the concept drawings and planning of Woodland Station is $5,003. We've also paid the 2012 series bond payment. The total was $289,297.92, of which $195,000 was principal, $94,297 is interest. Okay, is that better? Okay.
Better.
Just see if I can get this right. Principal outstanding is $2,144,000. We've also paid the 2018 series bond payment. Total is $71,634. That $50,000 is principal payment, $21,634 in interest. Principal outstanding is $400,000. We have begun receiving requests for reimbursement and redevelopment agreements. Started processing those, and coming up here soon, due June 30th, is our loan payment to the city, $110,000, after which the principal outstanding will be $818,167. And that's it for our finance update.
Good. Any questions? Tanner, could you email that to the board, to Corey, for the board to mail out to the board, just so they have it for the records? Okay, thank you. Any questions on finances? Okay. Moving down to Woodland Station then, a little update on the cog car. The plaque has arrived, and Jeff has looked at the cog car, where to put the plaque, so that's a good thing. All we have to do now is to set a date to have some kind of a little unveiling, just a little presentation, but it is, that we've hung the plaque. We talked about July 4th and 5th, sometime in that time period. I don't know, it sounds like the July 4th thing has been canceled, so there won't be much happening. Is there any comment from the board of maybe a time to do this and get together? Do you think that's necessary? What do you think? Talk to me. Not all at once. Jen?
I do think the board should be there for that.
I do too.
At least the board should be there, to be like a little ceremony or something for him to do that. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think that's a good idea. Shall we just, shall we table it till July and see how it is then and set a date then? Because we talked about the 5th, but I'm not sure that's a good time. So that's right around the time we'll have our next meeting. So should we wait and just decide then on a date?
That's good.
Okay, then I'll call Dwayne and say we'll get to the next meeting, see how things are, so that we can all be there and maybe have a little band and whatever we can do. Okay. Well, and his family wanted to be here too, so that will be that would be good on tentative dates. So I'll just go ahead and work with him and we'll try to do it sometime, maybe the end of July or something. Okay? And then the horse and stagecoach, I have to tell you, I see people over there taking pictures all the time in front of that horse and carriage and eating at the picnic table. We need to probably spiff it up a little bit. The weeds look pretty bad. The fence is falling over. I think we need to give it some attention. I don't know. I'm not hearing any volunteers stepping up to it. So will we have Jerry? You volunteered? Is that what Tanner said?
Oh, great.
He's over there pointing. So, do you think, and I'm sure Nick will help as well. He said he would too. So can we set maybe a time? Do you want to coordinate it amongst the four of you to do that? Okay.
Yeah, pretty good building fence. That's good. I got nails. Maybe between three of us, we got to get times run together here.
Okay. All right, then we'll move forward with that. Yes.
Now that item.
Yes, Tanner.
If I may, can we back up just for a moment to the cog car?
Yes.
I'd like to plant a seed with the board regarding the car, and a snowy day like this one's a great time to plant this
Okay.
seed. So the holiday home tour is busy planning the home tour for this upcoming December, and looks like some of the venues for this year might be on Dual Road, very near Woodland Station. And the cog car might be a nice addition to the tour as a stop for people to enjoy, and might add a historical component. And so something to consider allowing use of the cog car for.
I think that'd be a great idea. Kind of introduce the community to it. Good. We'll just discuss that more. I don't have any problem with that. I think that's a good idea.
It'll come back later on if it remains the plan. But just wanted to plant a seed, so if there are any concerns with that, they can be figured out in advance.
Okay. Are you talking about people going in the car?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that would be, and you know, it was the official Santa car for the Cog Railway, so it was the official. So we can keep that in mind.
Something to think about possibly in the future, as opposed to having people go in the car because of potential wear and tear. I'm not absolutely opposed to it, but possibly putting a building a deck next to it that's like a train platform that people could walk up on. And there again,
Well, I think that's important, Merv, because you can't get into it, to step into it. They boarded it off of a deck. It's really too high to step into it. So
What about putting some
and
decorative
I
rope
don't,
on the seats so people aren't sitting in the seats?
yeah, we could, I mean, you know.
I could put Sherry up in there last night.
Yeah.
He had to pull me in behind.
Well, I think that that's a very important thing to do before we open it to the public. By all means, finance is the key word here, Tanner. Can you wiggle us out some money to do that somewhere?
We'll find some magic money.
Today, sure, by December, who knows?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we will move forward on that because I do think that's important, but we don't have to address that maybe today. Okay, moving on to development proposals for Woodland Station. Can we get an update from the negotiating committee? Which one of you would like to speak? Tanner?
Last dinner.
I'll do my best.
Still need one other stuff.
Bob, on that thumb drive I gave you in the development folder is a concept plan JPEG. If you're able to share that on the screen, that might be helpful. Please. Yes, sir. This plan just keeps getting better and better. It's turning into a great plan from what I can tell, and I hope that as everyone else comes to understand it, they will agree. The current drawing is perhaps about to come up on the screen. Maybe, is it shared on? Okay. So for those who can see it, you're looking at the most current drawing that's been produced by NES. It is not completely up to date. It doesn't reflect all of the ideas and actual plans that have been discussed to date, but it is the most current illustration. It does continue to evolve, and currently the plan includes indoor and outdoor entertainment, amusement and activities, food and beverage businesses, retail spaces, lodging, and possibly some residential use on the upper levels of mixed-use buildings. Additionally, a number of enhancements have been discussed.
It says no signal.
Okay. Well, it's this one. The board does have this drawing. We've had it for some time. It hasn't been updated in some weeks. It is the most recent one that you have.
It's that one.
It's been interesting. Okay, thank you. Ideas such as the possibility of adding a rodeo and flexible venue space to the southwest corner adjacent to the event center, which would require modifying the access and parking to that area from what has been shown on the drawing. Some special design considerations for the Saddle Club extension to better incorporate it into the surrounding areas and uses. Improved parking access to the southeast parking lot, and additional activities and public space enhancements, some examples of which are also on the thumb drive that I provided and can be shared at some point. When presented with the latest ideas and requests for some revisions to the drawing, John Romero of NES suggested converting the concept drawing into a site plan document to provide the level of detail we're beginning to reach. A site plan would allow for much more detailed definition of building footprints, surfaces, utilities, drainage, landscaping, etc. It will be necessary at some point. It is a more technical document, more expensive to produce, and more difficult to change as the plan continues to evolve. Mr. Williams suggested that we're perhaps not quite ready to exit the concept phase yet and begin work on a site plan. And to save time and money and to facilitate the process, he is taking responsibility for drafting some additional conceptual renderings of his team's ideas, which, if approved, can then be submitted to NES for incorporation into drawings. Mr. Williams has provided some updated ideas for phasing as well, and has asked for a consensus from the board in support of the first phase building, in hopes of breaking ground sometime this fall. Murph and I had a great meeting with Sally Riley last Friday to review the concept and propose changes in detail. Sally provided great comments and generally seems in support of this concept, but I will let her speak to that further if she wishes. I did email and speak with Paul Benedetti last week to provide him a brief update on the plan and to seek his initial questions, concerns, and or guidance. Paul seemed pleased to see progress and suggested involving the city staff from here forward, and that we hold an initial meeting between all parties to discuss steps coming up. And this afternoon at 3 p.m., Murph and I will be attending a Zoom meeting with Sally, Paul, Mr. Williams, and company for a first joint meeting with our legal counsel, the city staff, and the developers in hopes of continuing to improve our common understandings and expectations of the steps ahead. I do have more detailed information about proposed phasing and some other considerations that we'll discuss in the executive session.
It was a huge paragraph. Added, and was very significant. I'm really excited to see that start.
Yes, it sounds like we're starting to get some traction again. This corona thing has been a real holdup for this. I'm glad that they're stepping up and ready to go. Murph, do you have any comments too?
More matter. No.
Okay.
I'm excited. I have a lot of possibilities going on, and we're gonna get into the mud today. Start wrestling.
I see the drawing is on the screen, so you guys want to take a look at that. Hopefully you recognize that drawing is one that you've already seen. If you have any specific questions about that, just ask. Also, city staff and NETCO Fire Chief Tyler Lambert have provided some initial comments on the concept, so that part has begun.
Good. And city's involved, so everybody's in their places and moving forward. Good. Members and structure of the negotiating committee. It sounds like it's going good. I think that Al, do you have a question?
Go ahead, Mary Jo. Tanner, if we're going to be opening or groundbreaking sometime this fall, how are we proceeding on the surveying, defining of lot parcels, subdivision, drainage study, etc.?
Well, that's something we hope to learn more about today at our 3 o'clock meeting. Sally did provide an updated development task sheet listing a number of the steps necessary to reach groundbreaking and actually I think ribbon cutting.
Sure.
So that's something we'll be discussing with the developers and Sally and Paul for next steps.
There's a lot of work there just to get to the point where they want to ground break.
Quite a bit. And my understanding is that some of those steps are items to be negotiated between the developer and the DDA as far as who will take responsibility for certain steps. So there's some more to discuss in the executive session about that.
Okay.
And Ellen?
And so you'll also be, is this the time you'll be discussing the building and what it looks like that's on that northeast corner?
Yes.
And it sounds like we can plan on some special extra meetings in the near future so that we can keep all updated on what's going on and how this is. We have some grant writers that have stepped up and ready to write some grants. We have joined a grant writing firm so that we've been privy to grants available out there. So as soon as we get to a point, the arena would be one place that we have grants for. We'll see what other parts of this development we'll need grants for. There's infrastructure grants out there. We need to get moving on those as soon as we can find out information. So that's another step that's being taken. Okay, any more comment on for Tanner and Merv? Board discussion and development proposals, that's to be an executive session, and that's what we'll write. We do have some contracts, we do have some finances to discuss in executive session on this development, so just so that the public knows. Okay, moving on to business and support initiatives. The pressure washing. We still have Al Hagedorn is still ready to write a check if we just get a name to who to write it to. So, and I would like to thank Kip for doing the power washing that the city did. It was a gift from heaven. Thank you. But it still needs to be done a little more on the building. So I'd still like to see our power washing go through. And Tanner.
Thank you very much, Kip, and to the city for what they've done. It looks so much better downtown. I walked downtown again yesterday, and it is so refreshing to see clean concrete and benches and lampposts, and downtown is looking and feeling a lot better already. So as far as I'm concerned, that's incredibly valuable, and I am so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. The pressure washing of private properties remains something of a challenge. I have met with 2 pressure washing contractors. One is Cedar Home Restoration, who we've hired repeatedly in the past. They typically are, by a good portion, our best price for washing the private properties downtown. Matt Hayward is the contractor. He's ready, willing, and able, with the exception of having equipment available. His equipment has broken down, is in shop for repair, and there's no ETA for that repair at the moment. So I have also met with and walked downtown with Top Gun Pressure Washing and expect to have their bids today for cleaning the buildings, and both entities are willing to work with the city schedule for recovery and disposal of water discharge as needed. Top Gun also has the ability to capture that water on their own. It just adds some cost to the process if we ask them to do that. So we're getting close, but we're not quite there yet.
Okay. Well, keep me updated, and I will keep Al updated. Any more comments on pressure washing? If not, we'll go to the community marketing. I think Karen is here, and I think Karen Casey would like to present a plan that the city has for marketing Woodland Park. Thank you for coming, Karen. Karen, could you come up to the podium and the microphone? Would that work, Robert? Okay, thank you. Karen, does this first microphone work? Maybe you could just sit up there and use that first microphone.
Test, test. There we go. Thank you very much. So this would be the time of year without COVID that we would be doing some general tourism marketing, and Darren wanted to pull a group of people together that was representative of Woodland Park to see what we could do to lend some promotion to tourism and to recovery and resiliency. And so last year we did a general tourism campaign piece, and also a piece for the Woodland Aquatic Center. And so initially earlier this year, I had communicated with our partner KRDO to see what we might be able to do coming up and kind of refresh our efforts. And then when the resilience and recovery opportunity came up, decided that, okay, let's make this something that we could do collectively. To invite entities like the DDA and Main Street to participate is great. It's not a requirement, but we wanted to be able to communicate to everybody. And the committee, planning committee initially said, gosh, let's focus on our local Teller County population to take a first sure kind of safe step and to let our local community know if they've been quarantined for 3 months that it's okay to come into town and dine and shop. And so that's kind of the premise that we started with. The way that the KRDO digital effort works is that we continually kind of monitor how people are consuming online in terms of the marketing campaign. And so the thought was that it would launch probably in about a week, maybe 10 days, and that we would begin to take a look at it. And as the environment continues to open up, that we would transition the target audience from the local community to a broader community and say, hey, look at, here we are, we're returning to normal. This is what Woodland Park looks like. Please observe the following rules, look for these placards in the businesses, and we're not sure what all that looks like, but I know Debbie at the Chamber has brought forth some placards that businesses can use. And so DDA join us with that, and I would love to entertain questions and comments.
Okay, Ellen?
In our last communication with you, didn't you mention that the first month would not have geo-fencing?
Right, so it doesn't make a lot of, the question was about geofencing, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to do geofencing with our local population. It does make a lot of sense to do some geofencing when we open up the next phase, the second phase of the campaign to an audience who is outside of Woodland Park. Because, for instance, if somebody's going into a gear lab in Colorado Springs, they would be a target for getting something about our gear lab up here, and et cetera, with respective types of businesses.
Thank you, Ken. Jerry?
Well, I guess now it's you're asking for $1,000 from us, is that?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, no.
Why do I think that?
I must have miscommunicated.
Oh, okay.
So typically a campaign that would be in the budget that I manage would be about $1,500 a month for a 3-month campaign that would be comprehensive. And to add a little more to it, added about $795. So it was just over $2,000 per month for a 3-month campaign. It looks like we're going to cut this effort back to 2 months. And so we were just because I can make adjustments to that marketing budget and spend less in the fall and put a little more into the effort for the summer months, the more tourism months. So it's to answer your question, you know, it would even be helpful $100 or $200 each month. So $200 to $400 would be helpful in the effort.
Tanner?
This first phase is targeting the local community, is that
Mhm.
right? And when do you anticipate the second phase launching?
It'll be in July.
In July.
Mhm. So each phase goes about 30 days, and we stay in touch with the digital manager, Christina Clark at KRDO, and so that we can make adjustments out. It usually takes about a week to make all the adjustments.
I see information about targeting your local market in here, but I don't see anything about targeting the tourist market or visitors to Colorado in general or the Front Range. What does that phase look like?
So we didn't know initially. Initially, we thought, oh my goodness, we just want to be able to communicate with the local community. And so that will add geofencing to it. It'll be similar, only it won't, like I believe that the recommendation that you may have a copy of has limited zip codes. And so those zip codes will expand significantly. And that makes the difference into a general tourism. But the zip codes currently on that information are Teller County zip codes only. So that would make the shift because that identifies the population.
Do you know if the targeting can be done by area, regardless of zip code? For instance, could Garden of the Gods Park be fenced?
Yes.
Okay.
They can do some really incredible things with the geofencing, and they can target, they can drill down to more specific demographics for individuals as well.
So it can be pretty precisely targeted in
Yes.
terms of location and demographic criteria.
Correct. And so this campaign would also be aligned with the Chamber's televised campaign, and they have a plan with also KRDO, only the TV side, to begin with that local market here.
Okay, so that's also targeted geographically to Woodland Park, Teller County.
Correct. And I don't have specifics for the Chamber's campaign.
And are you able to share with us the nature of the ads that would be sent to people's phones or?
So it was really exciting. Last year we did one for the Aquatic Center. Oh, and so I was doing something on my iPad and it popped up and I'm like, oh, I made the target market. And so what we did with WAC last year was KRDO did a creative, and I think that Corey may have sent out some links to that. And so it's a 15-second video. And so it'll be today or tomorrow that I can go back and speak with the reps at KRDO. But so they'll create a 15-second piece. And then we can make adjustments to that as well. And that's what people see. And then they measure click-through rates. And you can click through and go to, they'll create a sub website for us. And that would give businesses the opportunity to send us a logo and a link to either social media and or website page, and then list any kind of a special that they'd like to run. And we can change that up, or a business could decide to say, you know what, for a lengthy period, I want to offer something specific special. So it does give that extra click through to specific businesses as well.
So the 15-second ad is a generic Woodland Park.
Correct.
Mhm. I got the tail end of it.
It's a good looking commercial.
I was gonna say something Woodland Parkish there, Al.
Elevate your swimming experience at the Woodland Aquatic Center. Learn to swim, throw a party, swim laps for your health, relax and enjoy the views, or just have a blast and make a splash. The Woodland Aquatic Center, voted Best of Teller 2018 and 2019.
That was muted.
Thank you. I would just like to make a recommendation to the board that we kind of consider this, but table it a bit till we get, I would like us to be sure and have the financing and the money to move on with this development. I think that's still important. I know opening Woodland Park is important, but I think that before we commit to anything, that we should make sure that this development comes first. That's just my thought. Any other? Al?
Karen, last year when we did the promotion on the aquatic center, was there any program or thought process as to determine how effective that was? And what was the results?
I don't have the data with me, but the aquatic center staff did track new users to the pool, and I would have to go back and get those specifics, but they did see an increase. So what happened with the geofencing with that is through the Colorado Springs area and up into Monument, every time somebody went into a pool facility, an outdoor or indoor pool facility, they were targeted for and experience a good pool.
Jerry, did you have something? And then Ellen?
Well, I guess, I think as a committee, as a representations of businesses downtown, that we should strongly consider supporting, anything that benefits the business community. Whether this is that venue or path we should take, but I think it should be considered, not kind of let's handle it. Let's talk about it and come up with something today. It's my opinion.
Okay, then Ellen, you had a question?
I just had a comment. I think that to go in with the city and being a partner with them and with the chamber and possibly with Main Street and maybe giving $100 for 2 months, so $200 total, would probably not dent our budget too much, and it would show that we were leaning forward.
Any more comments?
Right.
Murph?
So I've been open for a sum total of 2 weeks, and I've gotten my third warning about social distancing and stuff, and everybody had a great time when we got all the veterans together to talk about current events and things last week. And no worries, we've all been immunized against everything in the world. I've even had rabies, yellow fever, and all that cool stuff. So I'm pretty much immune to the world. At the end of the day, about 50% of my customers right now are tourists coming from Texas, other parts of the world. I don't know that you want a social fence. I'd say that overall, if we really take a good candid look, yeah, government predictions didn't really come through for me. We weren't stacking bodies in the streets like cordwood. I don't see big outbreaks occurring because of riots and people failing to social distance. It's just not happening. Our total death rate here compared to population was 0.00007%. 70 thousandths of 1% was our death rate in Teller County. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not following the fear. I'm not seeing the results that the government is feeding us. And I would not say I'd say geofencing is, I don't think somebody coming from Texas is going to have much of a larger chance of giving us all COVID than somebody coming from New York. Where you see the population densities is where we saw the death rates. Okay, we're automatically socially distanced up here. We got higher UV, higher elevation, better health than most because we lack oxygen to start with. But at the end of the day, I'm just the social fencing. I'm at about 25. I'm operating at about 25 to 50% of capacity right now. There's still a lot of people that are very afraid to come out, I think. And so I'm just kind of wondering, the narrative has to change in order to get people out from the local population, I think. Otherwise, they're just not gonna play.
Jerry?
Well, I agree with you, Murph. I'm not real excited about the targeting just local Teller County. I think we should be open to the world, but it's a start. Initially,
I agree.
Initially I thought, well, this is silly because I want my money or monies to be spent to attract a vaster audience. But for what they're asking and all, I personally think that we should help out if we can. And this isn't going to change the world, but it's going to take a step.
Agreed. This is not, it's not about whether or not to help. It's about the marketing campaign and how broad to actually run it. Okay. Yeah, we need to market. That's all there is to it. However, we fence our funds, okay, and we're spending the same amount of money to get to a smaller audience. Why? Let's go for a larger audience, okay? Because quite simply, I think it would be a wiser use of the money. It's strategy, not whether or not to do it.
Tanner?
Karen.
Oh, hang on, Tanner. Karen, do you have a comment to that?
I think that was the intent to, in broadening it, Murph, to start small and say, okay, people, we've been in this for a while and we're all a little cranky and a lot of people have been devastated about from loss. And so the idea was to say, okay, locals, because we do want our locals to shop local and not only shop online and not go down the hill, but to be able to say, you know what, come here, it's safe, it's close, you're not going to be needing to travel long distances, so come and shop local. And then things will continue to open up, obviously. And so that was the premise, to open it up in phases.
Okay, Tanner?
Is part of the messaging in the advertisement that it's safe?
Mm-hmm.
How will that part of the message be conveyed?
And I'm not sure right now, but the idea would be that it's safe. We want you here, and look for these local businesses. And there, I think that part of it is the messaging that you all have on your businesses that say, give instructions to your customers walking in that, whether or not masks are required, and, what to expect of your employees when people walk in the doors. And I think that's a really important thing, so people know what they're getting kind of into. And when they come in, they see, okay, I see that Tweeds is doing this, and I feel comfortable and safe. I'm going to go in.
I would say if we're going to participate in this, that we should have a little more input into what's happening. We haven't had any input into any of this so far, and I do not believe that the chamber represents all the businesses in Woodland Park. I think the chamber represents their membership, and I would like to see us, if we do participate at any level, that we have a major say in what happens. Do I get an agreement from the board on that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Tanner?
Go ahead.
Well, I do have some thoughts on the marketing campaign. I had 14 years of being in business in Woodland Park. I spent a lot of effort and a lot of money on marketing, and I'm not alone. I know Jerry's done the same, and many have, and have learned the hard way that to yield ROI on marketing dollars and efforts is very, very difficult to do. It takes a lot of talent to market a business and yield ROI. So in our community specifically, we have a cyclical economy here, and tourism is a critical component of it. We are already into the tourist season, and I'm afraid that if we don't use the time that we have to capture as much of the tourist and visitor traffic along the Front Range and invite them here to Woodland Park, then we won't generate the commerce that is necessary to yield an ROI on our investment. The locals, I love the idea of inviting them out and shopping local and support that very much. But it's not enough of a market to sustain our economy, and particularly at this time with the damage that's been done economically and the amount of recovery that we need in order for many of our businesses to endure the slow season ahead, which is mere months from now. It is beyond what the locals will produce. Furthermore, I'd say that the locals, the residents of Woodland Park and Teller County, know that we're here. They know our businesses are here. They know many of us are open. They've seen the local ads. They drive through town. Can't miss that Beer Works is open. And if you want a beer, they're going to come out and go. And that's great and should be encouraged. That's great. But I think we would be remiss to throw money into a marketing campaign aimed at the local market. I think it would have very limited effect and not yield an ROI. I can't necessarily support that. And I think the expenditure of tax funds for a show of solidarity or support is not a justifiable reason for expending those funds. I think that ROI is what we need to aim at. And the only way I can see us yielding that now is if we immediately target the Front Range. I would propose, if we're going to participate beginning immediately, that we work to expand the current platform that's been provided by geo-targeting Manitou Springs, Royal Gorge, Garden of the Gods, Air Force Academy, and really boost the volume of ads delivered to whatever demographic target is identified as the right one in those areas. And furthermore, I would add that from a marketing campaign that standpoint, I think the budget is really pretty small in terms of likelihood that it will be successful. Repetition is important, and particularly if broadening the target market, as Murph alluded to, and as I'm proposing, more ads are needed, more money will be needed. I just don't see this as robust enough to have the right desired effect, but we can help that.
Okay. Ellen, you had a comment?
Well, Karen, is it possible for you to have a meeting with one or two of our current business owners, for example, Tanner, or Murph or Jerry, who actually own a business and are representative in that way, just to discuss whether there's any give and take in the parameters?
Sure, I'd be happy to meet with anybody. I feel like my message is that we're launching a campaign. We are going to invite all businesses that want to, at no cost, to send their logos, send their URLs so that we can get that promoted. And I wonder if it's a matter of the DDA then joining as we expand to the larger audience. I'm just wondering if that makes more sense to come in on the second phase when it meets your needs.
Tanner?
I suggest that time is of the essence. Second phase can be implemented now. And so instead of waiting to come in on the second phase in July, why don't we do that now? Time is of the essence. We have a very limited season to capitalize on the traffic and dollars that are being spent along the Front Range that are so crucial to Woodland Park's cyclical economy. And if we wait, we're foregoing the opportunity.
I'm absolutely happy to go back to this initial planning group with your comments. I know that Main Street met yesterday, and I haven't yet heard from Gail to see what their discussion was as well. And so I'm more than happy to go back to the group and say, here's DDA's comments, and get further direction from the collective group.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Then Robert's got a question.
Is there reluctance to expand the marketing campaign? Is safety a fear that is a driving factor in the design of this campaign?
There is no fear.
Okay.
Let me be clear about that. But we want to honor people who live in our community who want to feel like they can come and participate. And so, like when you look at the variance approvals, and just like the one with the casinos, we have a low rate. And the Colorado Department of Public Health says, yay, you guys have been doing a really good job. We have 35 confirmed cases in Teller County. Last Friday, 2 additional cases were added. And so wanting to see what the reopening does in terms of spreading a disease, I think it's moving forward with caution. And so just being very intentional about taking a step and saying, we've been quarantined, it's been oppressive. And so let's take this initial step and then keep expanding beyond that. And I think it's just being conservative and cautious.
Robert, you have a question? Comment?
Yeah, more of a comment. I was at the Main Street meeting last night, so and they were willing, but also hesitant. They were, and I don't know if I'm speaking for them, but basically non-committal will do something, but let's see what the DDA is going to do.
Tanner, I think you're nailing it. I think time is of the essence. I would have expected a month ago that we were promoting to local community to come out and support business, and I thought that Main Street was kind of had a program involved in that, doing kind of I don't know, it was a treasure hunt or something like that, and I thought that was a terrific idea. I think we're a day late and a dollar short. I honestly do. The cycle is moving forward. I don't see as a community that we are being bold. And that's, I respect that there's a fear factor amongst some in the community. But how to get exposure? I heard the DDA, the very first meeting I came to, one of the guys said, wash out the COVID, Woodland Park's open for business. I thought that was such a great tagline, but I don't see the confidence in the community to actually declare that. And so I have grave concerns for the business community, that there isn't the marketing, there isn't the confidence in the city to say, hey, okay, let's go, we're past this. So a few dollars, are you willing to have the DDA input in the marketing and the expansion of that marketing, or are there other decision makers that kind of make all of that, those wheels move forward?
There's a group of planners that we've met with. School district, actually Ellen is part of the group. Main Street, and I'm trying to go around the table. We have council representation, the chamber, Lori Gloth, and Gail Gross. So we do have some representation, and the intent is then we have one more meeting, and then we're going to broaden the group to a larger group.
So then, with the current marketing at $2,000 a month, what is the number of people that the marketing firm anticipates as that's going to reach? What's the number of likely buyers or visitors that's likely to generate?
The consumers of Teller County who are 18 years and older.
What's that number look like?
So I'd have to go back and look at our population. I just from tracking that population data over the years, I would do a little assumption that says about 17. I'm looking at Al because you know a lot about the demographics. So I would say maybe about 17,000 people would fit in that category.
And then the last question on that is, and so with 17,000 people at $2,000, would $4,000 in a month's generation generate twice that amount, 3 times that amount, or is there any kind of relational data on that?
I don't have the answer to that at the moment, but I can get that answer for you.
Well, in lieu of time, we need to go into executive session. We need to come up with some kind of, oh, Jan, I'm sorry.
I'd just like to know how many business owners are involved in the planning.
We're sending out letters this week.
So this planning has been going on for how long?
A few weeks.
And no business owners are included in this group?
There are. We have a small group of people: Lori Gloth, Gail Wingert, Gail Gross, Steve Wolf, Ellen Carrick, Deb Miller. Did I get them? Mayor Carr.
These are not downtown business owners, and they're not included in this.
Well, Mary Jo was invited a couple of weeks ago, but it was on Thursday, and so you couldn't attend 2 of the meetings.
Mm-hmm. I guess my question is, if this is aimed at helping the businesses, don't you think that business owners should be involved in this planning?
This
It's
is,
just a question, just a question.
it's aimed in supporting business owners. It's aimed at letting Teller County residents initially know that Woodland Park is open. That was the initial intent.
I guess I'm sitting here wondering why the locals didn't support these businesses before and why you think that why this group would think that aiming at local businesses, the local community now is going to make a difference. It didn't make a difference before this happened. And it's right. You do have to go outside.
The
Okay.
intent was to be able to cast a net and say to our Teller County residents that you've been quarantined, Woodland Park is open, come into town.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, we need to make a decision here and move on. So, do we need to table it or do we need to make a,
All about supporting it, but table it for the moment, and we'll move forward with that. And then we can make our recommendations. We can decide what we're gonna do after that.
Do we want to appoint someone? Ellen's been our DDA representative on this group. Ellen's decided, unfortunately, unless it's changed recently, not to reapply for her term, which expires this month. So we, going forward, may want another DDA representative in that group.
That's a good idea, and have it a current business owner.
and I'm looking at that as a motion.
I'll voluntold for this one.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor that we will table this and Murph will be our new contact person to work with the city to move forward, and then we'll decide on how much we would like to contribute to the process.
Do we want to authorize any amount at this point and authorize Murph to use his judgment to participate with the group and expend some resources if the opportunity is there and he decides it's in line with?
Is that part of your motion? We
I didn't
gotta
think a
move
motion-
on.
I didn't think we
Make
needed
a motion.
to Table it.
Mhm.
Do we have general agreement that we should support it?
No.
I'd say,
I say only support it if we have got a say in how it's
Okay.
spent.
So how about this? Take a rough stab at it here.
Okay.
Move to appoint Murph to the DDA's marketing committee and task him with participating
city's marketing committee.
in the city's marketing efforts and authorize him to expend up to $500 toward this effort should he decide to do so. Is that
Here's your motion.
maybe a little rough?
Have you got that, Corey? Okay. We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jerry seconds it. Do we have discussion?
That horse is tenderized.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. Go for it, Murph. Okay. Kathy,
There you go.
Karen, you've got the contact. Okay, thank you. And is there any other under business suggestions on marketing? Hearing none, we'll go to general discussion. Tanner, I'll start with you.
It did occur to me after we moved on from the development planning conversation that we may have those developers on in the meeting on Zoom. I'm not sure because I'm not looking at it and I don't see attendees on the screen, but we. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Well, just thought we would invite them to speak on the development planning before we move on.
Okay. Any? Okay.
My term is coming to an end. However, I am reapplying for the DDA, so this is provisional on me being picked back up. Okay,
Okay.
but I'd be more than happy to do it as a business owner as well.
Okay. Jerry, general discussion.
You know, got nothing today.
Okay. Jan? No? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I just, if you want to go around, but I do have more.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, this might be Ellen's last meeting. And I did take the liberty on behalf of the board of ordering Ellen a gift, as we did for Lynn Jones. Unfortunately, the order's delayed. It's not here yet for today, but it's coming very soon.
Sure, yeah.
Have a feeling I know just what you want. So anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that and just say thank you very much.
Here's your
For,
hat, what's your hurry, yeah.
Thank you for doing that, Tanner.
yeah.
Thank you. We keep thinking we're gonna talk her into reapply, but she's not. Okay, I'd like to say one thing. We had, the first weekend, the 30th of May, we had a little Woodland Park adventure. It turned out to be, a little bit different, but it was a good day. We had probably 150 people come throughout the day, coming and going. We had horses and a dog show, and we had balloons and face painting and music, and the people loved it. The kids loved it. It was great. Robert was there. Paul was there. It was just a good day, and I think the community really enjoyed it. People were safe. They didn't all wear masks. They didn't all stay 6 feet apart, but they were very cautious. They were very considerate, and there wasn't a lot of grouping, so they did do some distancing. People acted very well. They were glad to have it, and I think that we're ready to move on. I'm disappointed they canceled the 4th of July. I think that by then it would have been a good thing. I wish they would reconsider that. Anyway, it was a very successful event considering what we had, and glad we did it. Murph?
All right, as it stands right now, I mean, most of us are down probably about 25% of our from our annual normal net income, and moving forward slowly. I know my revenues are down over that 25%, and I'm in debt about that much. Of course, there is some of it that might get relieved. However, if there's anybody, people need to be aware that the payroll protection plan was extended to 24 weeks instead of 8. Thank God. Allows for a little more judicious use of the monies. I'm not one to really enjoy taxpayer money, but hey, I mean, the federal government taketh, and so I guess they ought to give back once in a while when it's really necessary. If there's anybody that needs help with that, I will volunteer Stephanie to take care of that. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody, any of the businesses, local businesses, provide any advice I can to help them get along. We are all a long ways from being out of the woods. Okay. I'm operating at 1/3 of my normal staff. So there's about around 15 people out there still waiting to come back to work. The business just is not there to bring the staff back, and I'm not going to waste money. I'd rather give it back than waste it by paying people exorbitantly or something like that. Okay. So anybody that needs help with the payroll protection plan, I've researched it thoroughly. More than happy to give advice. That way they won't all be lined up at Stephanie's door. You're welcome.
Okay, anything else? Robert?
No, just kudos to you, Mary Jo, for stepping up on the 29th. It was on 30th. It was great. It was a lot of fun. The kids had a lot of fun. And we actually had Mark Baisley there. So we had our congressman there, and we had some from Victor. I think the city manager from Victor was there. And there was support. They're going, oh yeah, we need more of this. So Woodland Park, we need more of what Mary Jo did, and let's have the courage to step out and use our fresh outdoors for people to enjoy.
Good. Thank you, Robert. Ellen?
Thank you. I was at that Woodland Park Adventure Day as well. It was exciting. It was fun. It was a great effort of fun right in the middle of our downtown. I'd like to thank everyone for being a part of DDA. I've been proud to be a part of this group and happy to know everybody. Looking forward to still seeing you in the community. I am a part of DDA till June 30th. So I'm not quite gone yet. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Ellen. Al?
Thank you. This is a little bit off now but it's a regurgitation of some of the comments that I've made previously. We've been trying to develop the Woodland Station now for a large number of years. There's been a variety of attempts to do something there, but it still has not clicked. That which I promoted some months ago was that we look at that piece of property, start to acquire the services of a professional developer to develop that property to a marketable entity. What all that entitles, I'm not sure, but it would be a lot of development of some of the infrastructure, in particularly subdividing the land and getting it ready to market. Then once we've got a product that we can put on the market, then we seek the professional services of a marketer to find those people. Now, I recognize that this may not be the right time, to do something like that, but it's an idea that I have not abandoned. Certainly want to see what can happen with the current interest, but would like to see that to start to move forward.
Well, we'll see what comes out in our executive session with these developers and see how professional they are.
And maybe I'm a bit tainted because I have seen quite a few steps forward to try to do something, and then they back away. It all fails. And maybe that's what's souring me on some concepts that come here, because we have seen so little production in the past, just ideas and paper pictures.
Yes.
So I'm wanting to move forward in a productive way. So I'm hoping that this will work. Yeah.
We are too. We're anxious.
And that's where I'm at. So I'm not letting that idea die. It's one option of many.
Okay. Thank you, Al. Sally, do you have anything?
Good morning. Thank you. I do want to do just a brief update of some of the investments that are going on in the downtown within the DDA district and some of the activities. But first of all, I'd like to congratulate Mark Rabot for hanging in there and getting his CO for the microtel and getting open. It was a little painful, Mark, but starting in 2017. And it's really been a pleasure working with Mark Rabot and his team through the trials and tribulations, but he got there and deserves a great deal of credit for bringing 62 new rooms to our community, and wish him the best of luck. So good job from the DDA for a project that will be a great benefit to our community.
Thank you. We think so too.
I'd also like to congratulate Main Street. They put, with Ellen's leadership, put on the mini cleanup. So along with the power washing, the Main Street effort, we do want to elevate the appearance of our downtown and try to encourage folks to pull off the highway, stop. The new parking signs were part of that. And then Main Street is also using their mini grant dollars to install 6 wayfinding signs. Jeff Cahill is in production on those signs right now. They will be located in the public parking lots so that when folks do actually park, get out of their vehicles, they'll see these nice green signs that will direct them to restaurants, food and drink, shopping, the visitors center, and the rest areas. So the wayfinding program is underway by Main Street, and hopefully we'll have those up in the next month or sooner. As far as investment to the downtown, the Rhapsody Restaurant and Bar, which is just to the east of Bergstrom Park. Erin is slowly working on the remodel. She has a beautiful patio area that will be accessed by the restaurant, and I'm hoping that she's going to be coming to closure here and be able to get her final inspections soon. Vectra Bank is moving forward with a remodel of their drive-through with a new canopy and demolishing the old teller building, but they're going to do an upgrade as well. And then Dr. Conrad purchased the Catamount Power Sports building, and he is investing quite a bit of funds in a remodel for a new vet clinic on the highway. So those are our 3 projects that are underway and either have their building permits or seeking them. And then lastly, I wanted to mention, as far as the marketing and promotions, Drew Stoll, most of you know Drew, with Great Outdoors Woodland Park. He is located down next to Trell Road with the rentals. He is also a cartographer and has developed a bike and trail map, which we have so needed for so long. And what's interesting with the focus on Woodland Park and all our wonderful recreational opportunities in the area, and the backside gives more information. Drew is going to be presenting this map. I don't want to steal his thunder, but he will present this at the city council meeting next Thursday. So what's interesting is on this map, there is a total of 65 miles of trails, and bike routes or bicycle areas, 68 miles, which is more than our 57 miles of roads in Woodland Park. So it is really a tremendous project and publication. So we're excited about having a decent trails map for the area. That's all I have.
Great, Sally. Thank you. That's great. Good for him. Glad Drew did that. Brooke, Carolyn, anything? Stephanie, anything? Mark, thank you for getting open. We're so happy that you have completed that for all our sakes. I just hope we can get open and fill those rooms. Yes, yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to comment on?
Yeah, I just briefly, I wanted to come here to let you know that that we were open. We got our CFO, as Sally said, on April 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And basically opened up the 1st of May. So May was our first month there. It cost more than we planned to build. It took longer to build than we expected. But on the good side, I think it came out nicer than I was anticipating. It really, it looks good. And So when I reflect back and what everybody used to refer to as the big hole, now is one of Woodland Park's gems, I think.
Yes, it
And
is.
I think we're starting to see some action. We're just really getting online with Microtel Inn and Suites, but the beds are starting to fill up. We're getting more, and as Murph was alluding to earlier, and Tanner, we have a short season here, and so it's like either make it in a few summer months or you don't make it, and we need to be able to be prepared to last the winter so that we can be around next year. Planning on a ground or not a grand opening, or maybe it should be called an open house or something. We're planning on September 19th. I've got about a dozen friends coming here from Michigan that I was really involved with in Kiwanis, and they're all planning on coming out September 19th, and so they told me that should be my grand opening day. So, and then hopefully some family members and that, and interesting conversation about tourism, and the safety, and I feel and I see the concerns, and I know we, as everybody else and all the other business owners, we're using medical grade cleaners and all that stuff, trying to make everybody feel at ease. But we do need to get this economy rolling, and we can't wait any longer. It has to happen. But what I really came here to say, and I almost forgot to say it, this project wouldn't have happened without this board. Would not have happened without the DDA. And I can tell you, I'm going to need that help in the next 14 years or 13 years with the DDA, the TIF agreement that we settled with. And so I'm very proud of it, but I think all of you on this board made it happen, because it could not have happened without your help. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you for completing a good project. And we're glad we could help. That's what the DDA was designed for. So we're glad. And thank you for your words of appreciation. We don't get a lot of those. Right. Okay, has anybody got anything else? Oh, yes, Suzanne, sorry.
No, that's okay. Thanks, Mary Jo. It's really good to see everybody's face in person. I've been really lonely not seeing anyone, so it's very good to see all your faces again. 4th of July, as you stated, has been postponed, not canceled.
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
want to just give you a little notice on 4th of July. We are still going to have a fireworks show. So we scheduled, signed the invoice for it and everything. As long as there's no fire ban, we will have a spectacular fire show on 4th of July in the evening. We may not have 4th of July as we've all come to know it here in Woodland Park, in Memorial Park, but we will be doing some activities. We're trying to work on what that could be to get some people outside and doing some events. If you have any ideas, let us know.
Okay.
But 4th of July will now be on, as everyone knows, September 11th is Patriots Day. On September 12th, which is the Saturday following Patriots Day, we will have our 4th of July Patriots Day celebration. So we will be in contact with all the vendors and trying to do the same event, and hoping by September we're able to pull that off. I wanted to also let you know that Vino and Notes has canceled, Oktoberfest has canceled, and Cruise Above the Clouds have all canceled their events. So any ideas you could come up with for events or activities for the summer, I think the residents would love that. I wanted to remind you that the DDA appointment will be heard before council next Thursday. And if anyone is interested in applying for the DDA appointment, those applications are due to the clerk's office by Thursday late afternoon.
Okay.
Also wanted to let most of DDA probably knows by now, we'll be having an election in November. for a council member. So if you know people interested in applying for that position, the applications and the petitions will become available in the clerk's office beginning August 4th. And last, Murph, I wanted to let you know I was on a webinar yesterday with Department of Liquor, and Governor Polis's new order allows for some unusual things that businesses can do that I am willing and open to work with. We spent about 45 minutes yesterday talking about consumption areas. So if you and other businesses get together, you can have a common consumption area where, you know, people can get food from your restaurants and food from another restaurant and have drinks and all sit together outside. So if you want to brainstorm about any of that, I want to let you know I'm available and ready to do that. And then last, if you guys wouldn't mind, just leave the tables. We're going to have a staff meeting in here, so you don't need to put them away. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, yeah. Okay. All right, well, we're done. If no one else has anything else to say, we're going to adjourn for executive session for the purpose of determining position relative to matters involving development projects with the City of Woodland Park Downtown Development Authority District regarding the determining position relative matters to negotiating the structure. CRS 246402. And like I said before, that is pertaining to contracts and finances. So we have 5-minute break, and do I have a motion to go into, then I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Okay,
Go
well,
ahead.
just going to make the motion to adjourn to executive session for the stated purpose.
Okay. And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. 5-minute break and we're in executive session. Thank you all for coming.